Welcome everyone to an exciting episode of Two Bar Connections with your hosts Jesse and
James. What's going on, everybody?
what is going on indeed. So, wow, we are got another whole year of recording, which means a whole another year of recording means a whole other top of the year list with our favorite games. And
Absolutely.
this year, it's going to be a little smaller than last year. Last year's list was fucking huge. But, this year, there's, a little more of a calmer year, even though it's been a pretty damn good year for releases still. But also, James and I have also been very busy, but we still got just enough to fill out a list for this episode. So before we get into all that, how have you been? I know it's been kind of short, but...
Yeah, well, not much has happened in the short time since our last recording session, but well, I'm getting more comfortable in my job. I have gotten used to the way the new computer system works, so I'm charting a lot quicker, which is great because charting is a big deal when it comes to nursing, and you want to make sure that you get it done as quick as possible and as correct as possible. Actually, scratch that. It needs to be correct because those charts are legal documents that if you mess up on, it can land you in really big trouble. So you want to make sure you do everything right, but then after you do everything right, work on doing it fast. And luckily, I think I'm starting to actually get the hang of it. So that's pretty good.
All
I'm
right.
just excited to go. I'm excited to go to night shift though. I forgot. I mean, no offense, but dealing with family during the day shift is awful, and I I miss how quiet it was on nights because like around 8 o'clock, you're like, oh, visiting hours are over. You gotta go, man.
Yeah, get the fuck out.
Yeah, not always though, not always, but it's been good. I've been looking also at schools to see what their requirements are because I'm gonna take applying for them seriously next year. I've also enrolled at University of Phoenix to retake statistics
Okay.
because yeah, it's actually one of the maths that are required for CRNA school,
hmm
and I got a C on it, so I'm trying to
Okay.
bump up those numbers.
Okay.
Yeah, and I might
Okay.
retake some other classes too, because there's some schools that actually have an expiration date on classes, and after this year is over, technically my classes expire.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So you're on a time limit here.
Yeah, and then I also have to retake the GRE because half the schools I want to apply to still
Oh
require it.
damn! Oh no fucking
Yeah,
standardized
which
tests.
is funny because my GRE also expires after this year. So damn.
Rip. Damn and damn.
Rip indeed. Rip, 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 dude. Like everything expires, so I'm just like, oh god, you gotta be kidding me. Damn it. So yeah, but that's been it. And then of course, dealing with holiday madness and helping my parents getting the Secret Santa gifts as well. But
I got mine already.
me,
At
hell yeah,
least
me
I'm
too.
pretty sure if that box I got is any indication. I haven't opened it up yet, but that package came in.
You probably should wrap it just in time for our
No, no, of
celebration.
course, of course. And we still got a few
Yeah,
days. Yeah, like you got like four or 5 days before. I
yeah, yeah,
think it's a
for sure.
Saturday.
But what about you, man?
Oh, doing all right. I just finished dog sitting for my sister over the weekend.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she has two Pomskis, which are Huskies and Pomeranian hybrids, and they're both
What is that?
well. One of them looks like has a Pomeranian body, but has the head of a husky. Like imagine get a husky's head and put it on a Pomeranian's body, and the other one just looks like a Pomeranian,
Okay.
but she has the personality of a husky.
Just want to let me go Google. Oh, okay, I see it.
I mean, I can send you pictures later of what they look like, but
Yes, yeah, because the stock Google image doesn't do those dogs justice, probably.
no, no, and then they're absolutely adorable. The little one, the one that looks like a Pomeranian, the girl Rosie, she's an absolute little crackhead. She doesn't stop moving around at all. She's very hyperactive on walks. Like it's kind of a pain because she's like wants to constantly tug all the time. And luckily she's small, so I can pull her back in. But like it's kind of annoying. Like she will like run, she'll like walk, and then she like spin in circles while walking because she's so excited. Like she'll just spin around while still moving forward. So she's like doing that. And then the other one, Tony, he's a lot more calm. He's a good boy. He doesn't cause me any troubles. He's just a little needy sometimes for the scratches. That's all. He likes being scratched a lot. I mean, they both do.
Yes.
Like I can't leave any room. They hate closed doors. I can never close a door. They have to be everywhere with me. all the time.
Damn, it sounds like claustrophobia or like abandonment.
Yeah, there's like separation
Oh,
anxiety.
yeah.
But they're very easy to take care of dogs outside of just them being a little energetic. I take them for a walk. I have to take them out one at a time though because I can't handle both at the same time. Uh,
Oh,
so I take Tony out first, and then he takes like 40-45 minutes for me to walk him around. Bring her back inside. Then I take Rosie out, and she doesn't have as much energy for walking. Like she gets a little bored easier, so I only have to ever take her out for like 20 minutes. Then she wants to go back
okay.
inside. So she burns herself out quick. She has a lot of energy, but she doesn't last long. So
Okay.
I bring them in, and the weird thing is that apparently my sister like cooks for them, like legit cooks for them. So I had to get like beef and like
Oh,
brown the beef for them, and mix it with their kibble, and then I had to get like chicken liver and like mix it with chicken liver with the beef.
man, these are fancy dogs,
Yeah,
dude.
no, they got that good gourmet shit.
Let's go, May shit.
So it's extra work for me, but it's no big deal. I just make it at the same time I make dinner for myself, which luckily my sister left behind arroz imperial, and she makes the best arroz imperial I've ever had. Whatever
Ooh,
cheese she uses, it's so good. Like, it's really
very
what makes it
nice.
good, and everyone loves it. Every time she's brought it to like family gatherings or like friend gatherings or something, or she has guests over at her house and she makes it for them, everyone loses their mind over it.
Very
It
nice,
is
dude.
it
That
is
sounds
it is that
awesome.
good.
You gotta save me some then.
Oh yeah, there's like I did leave some left over, but like it's just gonna be kind of old by now because it was there like the whole weekend.
No, no, like next time.
Yeah, I'll let her know. Let her know. Take a swig real
Love me
quick.
to take a squig. Watch your gas now.
Yeah, no, well, I mean that's it's dev taxes and gas on this podcast. But yeah, that was pretty much it. That was my weekend. Yeah, no, that was pretty much it. Did some studying, some homework. Uh,
Oh, how is the LSAT
yeah,
training
it's
going?
going all right. Just gotta keep going. Not much to update on that front. And then I did play a little bit of the Overwatch 2 6v6 tests that they're doing,
Tell me about that.
and it's fun. I mean, tank they definitely had to nerf tanks a lot, obviously, because they can't have 2 giga tanks running around.
Yes.
Man, they dumpstered my queen though, my Junker queen, man. They like increased the cooldown on her command shout to like 15 seconds. And the cooldown doesn't start until after duration ends, which is 5 seconds. So she pretty much like can't do anything for like 20 seconds at a time. Feels like sometimes. And
Oh
then her
Lord.
healing was like the multiplier was reduced from like two. It was increased at one point to 2.5. So like if she did
Mhm.
bleed damage, the healing would be multiplied by 2.5. Now it's down to 1. So it's just whatever damage you do, it's how you heal. And it does like shit damage. It's like it does 40 damage over 3 seconds, which is I calculated it's like 13 damage per second.
Mm.
So you're healing for like 13
That's
something per second. And they
yeah, that's
still
a
have that
lot.
fucking stupid ass DPS passive and the stupid season 9 changes. So all the squishies have more health and you're getting reduced healing every time you get hit by a DPS. So in reality, her healing is like 0.85. So she's healing for like 10 health a second. So like almost nothing. But she's still, really fun because she's queen. Diva still feels pretty good because she's pretty much just how she was in Overwatch 1. And a lot of tanks feel a lot more fair now. Hawk isn't that bullshit because he can't just, huff his copium whenever the hell he wants. Riss is a lot squishier. Malga's way squishier.
That's
Uh,
good.
Reinhardt feels like, well, Reinhardt is definitely squishier, but like if you have a Zarya with you or a Diva covering you, he feels pretty good. So the tanks, like, they do feel pretty good. Although, like, when you get those matches where like your tank is just not synergizing with you at all, it can be pretty bad because you're just exploding all the
Yeah,
time.
of course. Yeah.
And on the support front, it's some ways like it's more stressful, but also less stressful because you have to spend a lot more time healing, especially with the DPS passive, and you don't have as much time to do damage, which I really liked about 5v5 for support. That's like the one thing I would say 5v5 has over 66, that support just feels better to play because you can have more time to deal damage instead of,
Yeah.
just shooting the tank in the ass all day because you're like on the verge of death the entire time, and the tanks you're with are like morons. They just can't take cover at all. And then I would say the best is actually damage, because damage, like I can actually kill things now. Because before it was like, okay, well, I can't kill the tank. I definitely can't kill the supports, right? So I pretty much have to kill like 2 DPS and that's it. Like I just have to hope that the DPS gets out of position and I kill them. Now, there's 2 tanks for me to kill and there's two damage dealers for me to kill. You still can't kill supports, but
I mean, they'll probably adjust that later. If they even plan on going through with bringing back 6v6.
yeah, well, I mean, the idea of it was for them, for it not to supplant 5v5, but to make it like a supplement. So like it's something that it's another mode that you can use. I mean, they'll take out some modes. I think they said they might take out open queue. They consider taking out other modes, so that way the player base isn't so fragmented.
Yes,
but I think it'll be great.
Okay,
and I think like I said, I think 66 is just better. It's just better across the board. It's better for the tanks. It's better for the DPS. Right, it's a little worse for support, I guess, depending on how you like to play. I like to play like more aggressive, so like it's a little worse for me, but it's not a huge difference. Ana definitely feels better to play. She has 250 health now, and they reduced all her cooldowns back to the way it was in Overwatch 1. So you're back to having 12-second sleep dart and 10-second nade.
That's great news for me as an Ana main. I love her. I love it.
Yeah, she definitely feels good to play.
Good. No, maybe assuming Marvel Rivals, loses my attention, which probably won't, but I'll still give it a shot at some point in time because Overwatch is kind of the laughing stock right now because of Marvel Rivals for obvious reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But I would still like to go back and try it.
It's a lot of fun. We could try it. We could try it this weekend. I know you're itching more to play Marvel Rivals, and I played quite a bit of 66 tests, so I don't mind switching over to Rivals for now.
Yeah.
Plus, our buddy Paul might be on, so maybe we could convince him to get on. It'd be great.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to have some fun.
It's fun. Yeah, no, I was playing and they're like, oh, you want to play some matches? I'm like, oh, yeah, totally.
Play one match. Like, no.
Play one match.
Hey, we won, though. If we lost, it would have been a different story. Like, no, we keep going. Sunk cost fallacy,
Yeah, sunk cost fallacy. The Overwatch principle, as we call it.
Yeah, it's like you never want to end on a loss. This is feel bad. So you just keep going, and then you lose like 5 more times before you finally get the fucking win.
Absolutely.
But you know what? That win made it all worth it in the end.
Yeah, hell yeah. Especially when you win on the characters that you're trying to master. Like for me, I think my favorite is Adam Warlock. So, but we'll discuss that later in the vid.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk a bit more.
Yeah, I don't want to speak on it too much.
All right. So, with all that being said, how about we talk about what our favorite games were?
Absolutely. Let's go. Let's do it.
All right. So before we start, I want to give an honorable mention for my list, at least. I don't know if you have any honorable mentions, but I'm going to give an honorable mention to Space Marines 2, Warhammer 40k Space Marines 2. I'm not going to put like any visuals or anything like that because like it's not a top, so like I'm not going to show it off or whatever. But like everyone knows like what Warhammer Space Marine 2 is at this point, right? So it had a huge success, and it deserves all of that success. It's a nice, focused, pure action game, like straight from the 360 era, which was like the last time we really had like a plethora of those kinds of games. And that to me like is part of what makes it so special, that it makes you nostalgic for that 360 era. And it's just a fun game all around. Like it's beautiful. It has a really good combat system, really great audio design that makes you really, as IGN would like to say, feel like a Space Marine, right? It really sells you that power fantasy of you just barreling through like these bugs and defeating the forces of chaos, the heretics in the name of the Emperor. And then it has, multiplayer, which I haven't really played, but then it has a co-op. It's a complete full package, which again is something that we used to get a lot in the 360 era.
Indeed. And well, I'm in agreement with you on that. I know agreement is not a word, but you get my point.
Yeah, no, I think agreement is a word. I'm pretty sure it is.
But I really liked Space Marine 2 as well. We didn't play it as much because there was we were busy, and whenever we did play, we were playing literally everything else, or I was playing other stuff.
Yeah, September was a busy month.
Yeah, it was a busy month. Well, I went on my vacation, and
that's right.
And that's actually when Space Marine 2 came out. So when I came back, we played a little bit. I didn't get a lot of time in it, but the amount of time I did get in was phenomenal.
Yeah, and then
I was just gonna say it actually got me excited for whatever Amazon's cooking up with Henry Cavill for the series.
You know what? You gotta watch Secret Levels on Amazon. Dude, you gotta watch the Warhammer episode. Everyone says it's like the best one.
Okay, then that's exactly what I'll watch.
Yeah, so at the very least, just watch the Warhammer episode, and like you don't need to see anything else because it's all anthology anyway. So like everything is its own self-contained story. But everyone says like, yeah, that's the best one.
Alrighty, then that's exactly what I'll watch.
Okay, so going from the honorable mention, we're gonna go. So I have 7 games and James has 5. So I'm going to start with my number 7, and that is
You'll need a top-notch team to win this one. Pick your hero. Get ready. Go!
By the Vishanti, Strange is here. I'm halting
Marvel Rivals. So it's just so here we are back again talking about Marvel Rivals 2 minutes later.
2 minutes later.
Yeah, I mean really, like everything that we could be said about this game, we've already kind of said. I mean, it looks really good. It's just pure unadulterated fun. It has tons of characters that we know of because, you know, everyone has grown up on Marvel, right? Everyone knows like who Spider-Man is and who Hulk is, and like thanks to the MCU, now people know who like Doctor Strange is and stuff. But you also have like new interesting characters like Magic, who I never really heard of before. I think she's actually pretty cool. She's like a sword girl.
She's like a half mutant, half magic user.
Yeah,
right?
she has like mutant powers, but she also has like magic as well because she was I think she's from like a demon dimension or something. Like she spent time in a demon dimension, so she learned magic from there. And she also has a sword, which has like a piece of her soul or whatever. But then you can play like Iron Man, right? Doctor Strange, and the cool portal stuff, like we're seeing here in the trailer. And yeah, no, it's just fun, man. It really brings you back to the heyday of Overwatch. When Overwatch was like a little bit more casual, because now Overwatch is a much more competitively oriented game, which is not a bad thing. I actually kind of like that it's become more competitive. But I think that, this is a good palate cleanser, like in between when you're playing Overwatch, right? And I hope they kind of keep that casual flavor to it. They don't like go too hardcore into the competitiveness of it. But what about you? I mean, I know you really like this game as well.
Oh no, I love this game. I love it. I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it so much. But in all seriousness, I think this is the this game has the fun factor that Overwatch has been missing, because I really do think you can be competitive while still having fun, because that's kind of how Overwatch devolved. When people started caring what characters you picked, that's when you really started to see the fun factor go down. Because now it's not about, oh, I really like playing as my favorite hero Spider-Man or my favorite hero Doctor Strange. It all becomes like, if you don't pick the meta character you're throwing. And I know you said that a little competitiveness is good, but I think it's gone way, way overboard in Overwatch, to the point where every update that they make, or every patch, you have every Overwatch YouTuber making meta, like the tier lists, and oh, this is the meta now. These are the new powerful characters. Like, these are the characters you want to pick if you want to win games, and so on and so forth. Which kind of sucks, because at the end of the day, that it feels like the game is catering to the top 1% of players, and well, you don't survive on that. You got to cater to a lot of people, which this game does. So it makes it fun, even with the bullshit, like Jeff the Shark and Widow. It was at least fun for the first few times, and even every now and then you think it's fun. I mean, even I hate Jeff, but you know what I mean. But the game has to be fun, and if it's not fun, then no one cares, no one gives a shit. But this is fun. This game is fun, and I'm having a really, really good time playing it, which is why I've been itching to play this game a lot with you over Overwatch.
Yeah, definitely. And it also helps that it's a new shiny toy now, right? Because Overwatch, we've been playing it for 8 years at this point, and Overwatch is going to Overwatch. They can change formats or whatever, but Overwatch is always going to be Overwatch at its core. And
Indeed.
Marvel Rivals is. I was getting a call.
Oh no!
And now I lost my train of thought. But
said Overwatch is going to Overwatch. You said.
Yeah. Overwatch is going to Overwatch, and Marvel Rivals kind of like it definitely does like ape Overwatch, but it still has kind of like its own distinct feel still, even though like there's obviously a lot of abilities that carry over and stuff between Overwatch to Marvel Rivals. But Marvel Rivals manages to kind of mix them up in a way that still makes it feel kind of unique, especially like with the plethora of melee characters in the game. Because like in Overwatch,
Yes.
like, there's not really that many melee here. You have Reinhardt and Brigitte, and then that's pretty much it, right? Like everyone else is shoots. They're different flavors of shooting. So that's something that Marvel Rivals does quite a bit differently. And
Indeed.
I mean, as far as like meta goes, I mean that's gonna happen no matter what, man. Like I've seen people on streams on like like flats and like CarQ, like Overwatch players that they now stream both games. Like when they're playing
Yes.
Marvel Rivals, like CarQ was getting yelled at for like picking I forgot who he was playing, but like he pretty much like wasn't playing like Mantis or Luna, who it seems like the meta. So like that's gonna happen no matter what. Like people are gonna be yelling about all that. But the important thing is to kind of keep things fun and make sure you try to address player issues as soon as you can and as smartly as you can. Smartly, okay, well, as intelligently as you can, because like with Overwatch, like they understand the problems. The problem is that their solutions are stupid most of the time, and a lot of that has to do with like their unwillingness to like nerf things, especially like in the support category. Like just don't want to nerf support, so like they want to like bump everything else, and then things get out of control, which is why we have season 9 changes of Overwatch 2, and I'm not gonna get into it anymore, but you get what I mean, right?
We've gone into it enough. In fact, I think our like the first 10 episodes of our
Yes.
podcast, we were
Bitching about
just
Overwatch.
just salt for days about Overwatch. So yeah, I get it. But you know what back to the idea of the melee characters. What I've noticed is melee characters or aiming in general, even you have to be a lot more accurate. So you have to line up your melee attacks in the reticule in Marvel Rivals, while in Overwatch, Reinhardt's hammer had a pretty wide reticule, I guess you would say, or wide aim. So it was easier to hit things when you were meleeing in Overwatch.
Yeah, because it's an arc.
Yeah, well, compared to Marvel Rivals, you have to be a lot more precise, which I think is a nice touch.
Yeah, I mean it can also be a little
considering the
annoying though, because
yeah,
like
'cause
the
you're
reticle is misaligned to the character. So like there's a lot of times where I'm like
yes,
point blank range, I'm shooting something, I
and
crowd
it
the
misses.
reticle right on him, and it just whips past them.
Yes, and actually, I think I think that's like a problem that also is in Fortnite as well, where you think you have someone in your reticule, and also where you can't really see it because you're in third person, but your shots will hit a wall. And sometimes though the game will tell you with a little red dot that yeah, your reticule is aiming in this direction, but because you're this close to the wall, it's going to hit the wall, and this is where it's actually going to land.
Yeah, because your model is what's lined up more to the wall than
Yes,
to the reticle.
yeah,
So
but
yeah,
I think
that's kind of a problem with just third person shooters mostly.
yes, indeed. But overall, I think they managed to compensate for those issues well so
Yeah,
far.
I'd say so. All right, so let's move on to the next game.
Absolutely.
This was speaking of Fortnite. You switched this out for Fortnite, so this must be something special for you.
Indeed. Well, upon further thought, and I mean by further thought, like 5 seconds, because it is. But so this is my number 5 on the list, and the game is
So,
So keep your distance.
what was his name again?
Cloud Strife. This is a one-time gig. When it's done, we're done.
Come on, nobody do something this crazy just for money.
You gonna stand there and pretend you can't hear the player crying out in pain? I know you can!
I'd worry less about the planet and more about the next 5 seconds.
Okay, that was pretty cool.
Final Fantasy Remake Intergrade. Now I know this game's a couple of years old already, but I got the game this year when it was on sale because I wanted to. Well, I want to play this game at your recommendation, at your high recommendation, and this is also after your Glizzing of Rebirth, who also came out this year.
Hmm.
So I ended up buying it and playing it. I didn't get to finish it because, of course, that's my thing now. But I really did enjoy the game. I actually don't remember what it was that got me to stop playing this game. I think. Oh, actually, I know what it was, and we'll get to that game later. But what I did play ended up being very, very phenomenal. The graphics were immaculate. Like you can tell that they dumped a lot of years into this game to get everything right as far as visuals. And the combat has been revamped as well. The act because it's like an action RPG, so you get to attack in real time, but you also get to pause the game to use items or use magic, which I thought was really really cool. And and like I told you before, I think I got all the way up to the casino in the original Final Fantasy where you meet Kai how do you pronounce that? Kaisei?
They say
The cat.
Kate. They say Kate Sith in the
Kate Sith?
yeah
Okay.
in Rebirth. I guess that's how you
Oh,
say it.
okay, Kate Sith. That's where I got to in the original Final Fantasy 7. So like more or less know the story. Obviously, there's some changes here or there, especially considering it's like a part of the bigger plot, which I still don't know like what it's about. But I love this game a lot, and it's just one of those games that it was really fun to play, and I want to know more, but I just set it down and got distracted with other stuff, which is unfortunate. But that's just kind of how it's been for me this year as compared to last year where I actually, got through a good portion or completed these games. So I do harbor some regrets, not finishing.
Regrets.
Regrets.
Yeah, but hey, no,
But
I mean it just goes to show like how good these games are that you can already recognize like this is a top of
Yep.
the year game worthy. I mean, of course, it didn't come out this year, but it's a game that you did play this year, which of course for our rules, right? It's a game that I probably should have made that known ahead of time. But like games that are top games of the year are not necessarily games that came out this year. It just has to be something that we played this year.
yes, absolutely. And yeah, especially for me since I don't have a lot of time to play games. But this was fun, and I would like to finish it before the Rebirth comes out on comes out on PC.
Well, you got 2 months, and I know I told you about the update, right? Where they like super buff you, so that way you can just speed run through the game.
Yes, yeah, I heard about that. I might take you up on that. I might take them up on that offer, because next year is also going to be stacked with shit. So, and I'm planning on building another computer as well
I know, me
to
too, but
for one game
man,
in
the money.
I know the money, but it's okay. It's okay. Especially now with all like the classes and all like the prep work that I'm going to be doing for grad school. I hope I have enough like spending money left over. But I have to. I have to do it. I have to do it for her. I have to do it for her. And you know who she
Yeah,
you
yeah, I
know
know.
she is.
I know. What was that? The fuck?
That was the SpongeBob licking the abs, remember?
Oh, yes, okay. Yes. All right.
Yes, but I digress. But Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, it's a good game. It's a good game. I will get around to it. I will.
Well, I myself actually played through the whole game again in January, just before Rebirth came out, so I can get prepared for it. And it was good because I also played the Intergrade DLC, in which I didn't get to play in the original because it was PS5 and PC exclusive, and I had a PS4 at the time. So being able to play through the DLC was a lot of fun. Yuffie's great. When I played her in Intergrade, I was like, man, this character's gonna be so cracked out of her mind in Rebirth, and lo and behold, she was. Like, I was speedrunning through the game, like, all right, give me Yuffie, come on, give me Yuffie. She's too fun. I need her on my team. She's a blast to play with. But besides that, I love the characters and I love the story as well. I think it's just like this has to be like one of my favorite, if not my favorite, cast of characters in any RPG game. They've done a great job at fleshing them out, and like I don't remember like too much of GFF7, but of what little I remember, I feel like these characters are perfectly realized. Like, this is the best they've ever been. This is the best they've ever been written. The best they've ever been acted. The best they've ever been portrayed overall. And yeah, it's just great. And it's also awesome how like all of them have like not only their own personalities in the story, but also in the combat as well. Like they all have their own completely different fighting styles, like their own ways of playing. I don't know if you picked up on that in the combat.
Yes. No, I did pick up on that. Yeah, because Cloud obviously has his big Buster Sword. Garrett has got his gun. Tifa is obviously the martial artist, and Aerith is the mage.
Yeah, and just waiting to get to Rebirth because like they just double down on those differences.
Double down on it?
Yeah, like all the abilities they get are so cool and they're so unique. But there's also so much flexibility because of the materia system. Like so, like Barrett, you can be like a tank, or I actually made him like a tank hybrid healer.
Oh shit! I said Garrett. I'm so sorry.
Barrett.
Barrett.
Yeah, like Barrett, I
Sorry.
made him in Rebirth like a hybrid like tank healer because there's a ability in the game that lets you like heal people without using any magic. So like I just had him tank and then heal people up, while Aerith was like my black mage and stuff. But I digress.
Yeah. Oh, Aerith is best girl, by the way.
Yes, objectively true. Okay.
Objective. It's
Yes,
objective.
we are in the minority here, but you know what? We are in the correct.
We are Aerith stands in this house, on this podcast, on this
Yes.
stream.
Exactly. All right. Anything else?
No, nothing else on Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade.
All right. So then that means I'm up next. And this one's interesting game because not only did it not come out this year, but it also didn't come out in this country. So my next game is
暗い密林の奥で一人の老人に導かれた男は荒れ果てた祠を目にした。崩折れた石積みにうがたれた穴の向こうにはただ闇だけが広がっていた。穴の中へと足を踏み入れる男の背後で老人はかすかに笑みを浮かべる。
Shadow Tower Abyss. So, Shadow Tower Abyss is probably something you've never heard of because, like I said, it did not come out in this country. It actually came out only in Japan, and it was also on the PS2, and it came out in 2004. As you can see, it's a pretty old-looking game. But as you guys know, I'm a Kingsfield fan and overall a FromSoft fan. But at least in this case, what made Shadow Tower appeal to me was that it looked so much like Kingsfield, and that's that's kind of what it is. It's like Kingsfield, but like as like a horror game. So like it's more like survival horror RPG than like pure RPG like Kingsfield was. Like you still level up and stuff, but there's gonna be an emphasis on like resource management because there's things like weight management which you don't really have to worry about in Kingsfield. Times are kind of rare and whatnot, but overall, like this is very interesting game because like as you can see here, like in the visuals, it has like a very alien appearance. Like Shadow Tower 1 was like more traditional fantasy, dark fantasy, but this one like they made everything look like kind of alien like. You can see like frog people and stuff. And apparently like I looked up like lore videos, like there's like one lore video, right? Because obviously it come out in this country, so like people don't really know the lore, but there is a strategy guide that people translated from Japanese to English, and apparently like the tower is like a giant like alien plant hive mind that like crashed onto Earth. And like over the years it like went from planet to planet, like harvesting up different species, and like the species, when they give off their energy to the plant lives on, and they keep moving from planet to planet doing that, and until eventually ended on Earth. And so that's pretty much what's happening like in this game. But it has like really great atmosphere, right? Like this is a PS2 game, and like this game is just dripping with atmosphere. And what's interesting is that the game doesn't really have music. Like there's almost no music at all. So like the game really like tries to carry itself through its atmosphere. Like in this part, all you hear is like, I don't know if you saw like the beam of light, but all you hear is like the beam of light like going on in the background. And then you hear like the frog guys, like the frog guys that you see here like chanting and stuff. But like the lack of music actually kind of adds to the atmosphere. It's kind of like with like a Dark Souls, right? Dark Souls doesn't have like a ton of music. But it lends itself to the atmosphere because it makes you feel like alone. That's kind of like what the whole point of it is. And same thing here with like with Shadow Tower as well. And then another thing is like I mentioned earlier, it's like a survival horror game with a heavy emphasis on resource management. And I'm pretty sure I mentioned this on a previous episode because I know I talked about this before. But like the thing is like items have very limited durability, and like once they break, you have to spend a lot to fix them. But how you fix them is not through money. You actually have to sacrifice your health to try and heal them up. To pair the weapons. So you have to like balance between like managing like how many items you have on, managing your health, and managing the durability of them. And a lot of times like you'll find situations where it's like, okay, well, I don't really have enough health to, repair this item, so I'll just drop it on the floor, whatever, and I'll just hope I get like another item later on in the game.
Yes.
And then, but you can also sell the weapons for like coins, so that way you can get potions. So you're like, okay, well, I don't have enough health, but I can sell some weapons I don't need, so I can buy health, potions, drink the potion, then I can repair the items that I really like. And it's really interesting dynamic to it. So yeah, great atmosphere, really interesting emphasis on resource management. Just like Kingsfield, the combat's kind of ass, but it's definitely way better than Kingsfield though, because it has this interesting dismemberment system, which really plays a factor into it. Like you can chop off like an enemy's hand, like they can't like attack you anymore, or like you chop off their legs and like they'll have to crawl towards you in order for them to actually, you know, like damage you or whatever. Or like there's like flying insects, right? Like you can chop off their wings in this area, right? And they'll actually like they'll fall into the ground. That way, it'll make it a lot easier for you to hit them. And then your attack buttons, like each one's like a different motion. So like one will go to the left, one's go to the right, one will go up, one will go down. Oh yeah, and you have guns in this fantasy world, which is funny. It's just like, all right, I'm just gonna pull the gat. I'm tired of this. But yeah, to summarize, like I said, great atmosphere, really interesting resource management, really great rewarding exploration because there's tons of secrets everywhere. So if you like dungeon crawlers, if you like games of good atmosphere and exploration, like I definitely recommend going to some, you know, education software website and then getting a translated version of it. The website I went to, they already had it already translated, and I had to get a patch or anything.
Cool. Very nice. And to add on to the point of silence being used as a device, I think is something that's underutilized. There are some moments in the Resident Evil series, for example, where you're about to face a boss, there's like an event that's about to happen, and it goes quiet, like dead silent. It's the kind of silence that you can actually hear, like deep in your eardrums. I don't know if that sounds weird, and all you hear is the footsteps of you walking.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah,
you hear like the void.
You literally hear the void. So they should do that more often in horror games. You know what? We'll talk about that in a bit.
Okay.
Yeah. I just had a brain blast. But alrighty then. So what's the
we'll get to it.
Yeah. So what's the next game on our list, sir?
All right, so this is another one of my games because, you know, I have 7, James has 5, so naturally I was going to talk about it a little more about my games than James. And the next game in this case is... You want to do a drum roll for me while I clip this up? That game is Kunitsugami, Path of the Goddess. And this is a game that came out back in July, released by Capcom, as you can see on the screen. And this is like their little experimental game. They're very creative, very experimental game. And, you know, I really admire this game. And I admire like how Capcom has now no longer afraid to give us these more weird games. So what this game is, for those of you who don't know, it's like a RTS combined with a tower defense game where you have to guide the priestess, or the maiden as she's called here, as you can see. You have to guide her to the Torii gates, which have been infected by something called the Seath, and you have to purify the Torii gates, so then that way you can purify the land. And you pretty much go like from level to level. You recruit villagers, right? You give them different jobs. Right, spearmen, woodcutters, and they all have like different abilities that they can use. And it's a game like that's full of a lot of charm as well. Like there's no like talking at all whatsoever, so it relies a lot on like mimicry and like pantomiming and stuff. And there's just I don't know, I think there's something kind of cute about that. Like when games like don't really rely on dialogue and stuff, they're just more like just pantomime or whatever. Another thing that was also really great about this game is that you would think like with the game being a tower defense RTS game and the way I described it, that it would kind of get old after a while, but they actually find a really they do a really good job at finding different ways to mix things up. Like there's like one level where like you're on a lake and like you have to like fight on like a set of boats, and like the Seath, as they're called, like like a sea monster version of it will come up, and it'll try to like tip over like your boat, and like if you have your buddies there, your villagers, they can't attack it until like you cut off its tongue. And then like there's another level like that takes place in a cave, and you have to like light up lamps, so that way your villagers can actually see like where they can fight. Because if not, they can't see it, so then they can't fight. There's another level like where for story reasons you die, like your character dies, like their physical body gets destroyed, so there's just a spirit, so you're left with just the villagers. So you have to fight them off with just the villagers. And then in between levels, you have to like rebuild the villages that have been destroyed along the way. And it's very like serene and peaceful. Like it's just great just to hang around there and just like you just hear all these nature noises and like this soft music playing in the background. You can like, you know, pet dogs and cats. And then you can like not talk to the villagers, but like you can find out their backstories by like pressing the interact button on them, and then each of them will have like their own little background story, and they'll have like cute stories like, you know, oh, like this girl like came from like another village and she fell in love with like some other guy there, and then they just recently got married or whatever, stuff like that. And it really helps endear you towards like the villagers. It makes them feel more than just like, oh, these are my little like peons that go and fuck up monsters for me.
Very cool.
Yeah, really cool game. I hope Capcom keeps making stuff like this, and they said they want to keep making games that are like creative and like kind of experimental. It's great that, you know, they're bringing back like old IPs like Onimusha, right? Fucking Okami, right? I'm never gonna fucking not lose my mind over that. Which, by the way, there was no Kami collab with this game. It was cool. They gave you like a Kami themed skins for like the main character and for the maiden, which of course I put on. And really hope they keep on doing it. I mean, unfortunately, this game apparently didn't make sales expectations, but I hope that doesn't deter them, because like by their own admission, they said like, yeah, like we didn't market the game as well as we could have. It also came out like in July, which is like kind of a slow month for games.
Yeah.
And it came out like right when Summer Games Fest. Oh no, a little bit. No, this is a little bit after Summer Games Fest. So never mind. But either way, July is like not a very good month to release games, and it really didn't get a lot of marketing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all things considered, I mean, it sounds like the game did well in spite of its, I guess, disadvantages. Yeah, I hope it doesn't get dissuaded. Because I hear you talk about the game, and it sounds like it left a really good impression on you.
Yeah, now granted I haven't finished it, because it's actually a pretty long game. It's like,
oh, how many hours?
I mean, the thing is, I'm also trying to do like a completionist. So no. I'm trying to do challenges, and the challenges require you to play the levels multiple times, because they don't give you the challenges as soon as you start the level. You have to beat the level, and then it'll tell you what the challenges are. Sometimes like I beat them accidentally, like I'll clear them out before they reveal it to me, but a lot of times it's like, okay, like you missed like one or two, so you have to go back. And sometimes they kind of conflict with each other. They're kind of hard to like do. One of them is like, like don't let any villagers don't take any damage, but also like use X amount of rations. So it's like, okay, what do you want me to do, dude? I can't heal myself, but I also can't use okay. So you have to play multiple times.
Yeah, of course. Can you use rations when you're at full health or no?
I never tried, but I don't think so. I doubt it. I doubt it.
All right. Very nice. Very nice.
All right. So what about your next game?
All right. My next game, we already talked about, but this ranked one more higher than Final Fantasy. And this game is...
You'll need a top-notch team to win this one. Pick your hero. Get ready. Go!
By the Vishanti, Strange is here. I'm hulking out!
Hey, look at that. It's Marvel Rivals.
Yep.
So, yeah. So, I know we've already kind of talked about this game. I'm just mentioning it because it's the next one on the list. And I've already kind of talked about it. But I will take this moment to say that Adam Warlock is my favorite hero to play in this game. Like his chain heal abilities, dope. He's a... I know it says specialist, right? Strategist, whatever. But it's support.
Yeah.
It's support. It's healer. But you know what? No, it's support. It's support, as ML7 would say. But I really like his kit because it really incentivizes more like damage mitigation and revival. So he's not pure healing. In fact, actually, his healing ability only has two charges. So it's really... So it's actually really important that you do other stuff like using the soul bind, using his ultimate to get revives for your team, and most importantly to get some kills. And he does some pretty good damage, and his fire, his weapon fire is actually very reminiscent of Zenyatta, where you can charge it and unleash a volley of like 5, or you can
Yeah.
unleash single bits, and it's good. It works, man. And I think it's actually kind of instantaneous, almost
It has a really
instantaneous.
fast
But
travel time. It's not hit scan,
yeah,
but it has super fast travel time.
yeah, it's a projectile, but it has really fast travel time to where it almost looks like at a certain range, it might as well just be hit scan. But I love the way the character plays a lot. It just sucks that he doesn't have a lot of movement. So he's definitely a character that you have to play like kind of in the back. Because if not, you will get stomped on. I mean, unless you're playing against a diving tank like Venom. Yeah, you'll definitely have to play a conservative play style. But what's cool is though he has a self revive that you can use every 120 seconds, and it's pretty dope. Pretty cool. Yeah, but him and Cloak and Dagger are my mains. Support hero through and through. However, as far as tank players go, Penny Parker is my favorite.
Okay.
Yeah, she's the one I like to use the most.
Okay, maybe I can get you to duo tank with me sometimes if we have enough.
I will be more than happy to duo tank if you let me play Penny.
All right, yeah, play Penny. Penny's not bad. I don't think she's not fucking Lifeweaver. I don't feel like I'm gonna lose just because you're playing Penny.
You know what? I will say that's another point I wanted to make. All these characters right now, I know we talked about like metas, but there is no throwing character right now. Like every character feels like they are somewhat viable or they can work, unless the player has no idea what the hell they're doing with them. Unlike Overwatch, where you pick a certain character, it's like, okay, you're throwing the game, or all right, great, thanks for feeding your brains out and shit. So I think that's something else that Marvel Rivals has going for it, and hopefully they can keep it that way. But chances are, as patches come out, and also as they change their season bonuses, some characters are going to be preferred more than others.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait to see.
Yes.
Just just don't make any heal body characters. Heal body strategists are not, or supports are not good, right? Because the worst ones in Overwatch are always like the heal body ones, like Mercy and Lifeweaver. To an extent, Kiriko. I mean, I feel like a lot of times when I have a Kiriko on my team, I lose, but that's not the hero there.
Yeah. Well, that's what's cool about Adam. Well, that's what's cool about Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but that's what's cool about Adam Warlock. He heals, but that's kind of only like half, maybe even less than half. He has other ways to help the team because really the way you should play is get kills and heal if you have to, but killing the enemy player is the preferred method of winning, the fight.
All right. Anything else?
No, I don't think so. Oh, again, Jeff sucks.
Fuck Jeff.
Fuck Jeff. And you know what? Fuck Iron Fist too, for that matter. Piece of shit.
Yeah, especially as Adam Warlock, he must be a huge struggle.
Bro, it's bad.
Yeah, like you really need Mantis or Luna if you want to fight him off.
Dude, oh my god, it's so freaking awful, man. It's so bad. But I digress. Anyway. On to the next game, and this will be you.
All right, so the next game was one of the biggest games of this year to come out. It recently won the best ongoing game at the Game Awards, and you know what? All deserved, man. And this is a game that really set the world on fire in the beginning of the year. Like it kind of took Power World's thunder, right? Power World seemed to be like the biggest game at the time, yes. And then all of a sudden, this next game came out, and the game I'm talking about is
Super Earth, our home, our way of life. But freedom doesn't come free.
No! Sweet liberty! No!
Look familiar? Scenes like these are happening all over the galaxy right now. And you could be next. That is, unless you make the most important decision of your life. Prove to yourself that you have the strength and the courage to be free.
Join the Helldivers.
Helldivers 2. And yeah, I mean, we still talked about this game a lot already. It's just like with Space Marines, like it's just pure fun to play with the buds. But I mean, I think what really puts this game over something like Space Marines and something like, well, like any or most multiplayer action games is one is like the tone of the game. Like it's got a very big Star Troopers energy to it, but like even goofier,
Huge.
right?
Huge.
Like this trailer here, like when this is showing the gameplay, but like they have like, you know, an infomercial where this guy is like, our freedom's being threatened by the bugs. No, sweet liberty, right? You can see like, you know, it's a game that takes itself pretty seriously, and that's something that kind of reflects itself in the gameplay, because this game has friendly fire in it, which leads to a lot of tomfoolery, to say the least. Yeah, I can't tell you the amount of times like James or like myself would like throw a stratagem on the floor, which is pretty much like your Call of Duty kill streaks that come in, and we'll throw on the floor, be like, all right, steer clear, and they're like, steer clear of what? And then you just hear this big explosion, and then like your buddy dies, but you just kill like all the bugs. There's so many things that can just happen in like just a single match, and then like on top of that, wow, 2023, this game was okay. Oh, this game got delayed.
I thought this game came out this year. This
No. This is the original trailer. So it was supposed to come out 2023, but then it got delayed.
Oh, okay, shit. I thought I was in a time loop.
No.
Warp. Whoa, okay, cool.
No. It was originally supposed to come out 2023. It came out this year. It came out February.
Yeah. I remember. No, yeah, March. No, I think it was March, April.
Yeah, it was
my
like
Steam, it showed on my Steam replay.
Yeah, it was like February or March, I think.
Yeah,
I guess March. Yeah, March, because it came out after Rebirth. I remember I spent pretty much the entirety. I spent February playing Rebirth.
Yeah.
And most of March. But this this game, like, it's just fun. Like, that's all it is. And it's still going to this day. Like, it's crazy. Like, even after all the fumbles they did with like the balancing and like the bad PR with like PlayStation, their stupid PSN requirement nonsense, and with developers, putting their foot in their mouths in like the community discords.
Yes.
It's still going strong. It still has hundreds of thousands of people playing just on Steam alone, not even including, the PlayStation population, which is huge considering, it's a crossplay game. You have all these people on PC playing with all these people on PlayStation. And we just now had an update now with the vote list being added to the game.
Yeah, Omens of Tyranny.
And all the players that came back, like, it seemed like everyone came back to enjoy this game. And it seems like, people are ready to love it. And I love it. I mean, I would have played it more. It's just there's so many things coming out now, like Marvel Rivals taking up a lot of my time, right?
Yes,
I'm still playing Overwatch, so Overwatch takes up my time. It's kind of hard to squeeze in Helldivers plus all new releases and stuff. But be as may, great game, best multiplayer game of the year by far. One of the best multiplayer experiences I've ever had. Like this is probably the best multiplayer experience since like Deep Rock Galactic and Left 4 Dead before that. It's tons of moments that are just unscripted. That you just make it so much fun.
Very, very nice. Couldn't have said it better myself. For freedom.
For freedom. All right. So ready to move on?
Absolutely.
All right. So what's next one?
All right. Next game is it's for me, and this is actually a game that you were interested in, and I picked it up because I needed something to play. And I don't know, like I was going through the wow, I have nothing to play phase with a Steam library full of crap. so I actually got the game, and I loved it, and it was really, really good. And this game is
是长亮。
Black Myth Wukong, where you play as, well, essentially the rebirth of the famed Chinese mythological character who was inspired. I think it was the Wukong was the inspiration for Goku, right?
Yep.
Nice. And
Yes,
I
yes.
got to learn that. I got to learn that little piece of Chinese history. And it's a Dark Souls-esque game. It's actually the first game developed by these developers. What's the name of the developer
Game
again?
science.
Game Science. And dude, this is their first game, their first Dark Souls game, and they absolutely knocked it out of the park. Especially considering that the graphical fidelity and the way the game looks. You know, I remember we talked about it a while back, and you thought that the game looked fake.
Yeah, everyone did because those first revealed like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And like at the
Yes.
time it looked fucking mind blowing. Like no one had seen any game that looked this good, and just now, like even this year, like it's one of the best looking games, if not the best looking game of this year, just based on pure fidelity.
Yes.
Like the fidelity of this game is absolutely amazing. It's unreal. Like it really is like the best looking game.
It is absolutely unreal, and not only the
Unreal
way it
Engine.
looks itself. No, it really does. Unreal is the definitely the word I would use to describe it, and also the gameplay of it spoke to me as well because it really lent itself into the into dodge mechanics. So in Lies of P, parrying was a big deal, and in this game, dodging is the way to go. So much so that your character actually does a really cool animation every time you do what's called the perfect dodge. And if you time it right, you can actually just negate all damage of an incoming attack. And it fills up your meter, which allows you to do special attacks. And it's really, really cool when you get to do one perfect dodge after another perfect dodge, and you just see the after image of your character.
And it has like a
Just,
cool
you
sound
know,
effect too. It's like whoof, whoop.
yeah, it's like a whoosh, except it sounds a lot cooler.
Yeah.
And imagine like, these bosses that are just doing, these super moves and like, oh, I'm going to end you, and then you just literally go dodge. Definitely good game. Very, very good game. And again, I got like halfway through it, and I haven't finished it. Actually, I got stuck. So the game itself is actually pretty linear. There's not a lot of like open worldness to it. So I thought that was actually kind of cool because the game was able to get to be focused, and you didn't have to worry about exploring too much. Like, yeah, there were a few paths that you could have taken to get some extra treasure and stuff like that. But for some reason I hit a part and I didn't know where to go next. Like, and I tried to find different paths, but I think I got to like this arena area that looked like there was going to be a boss, but nothing happened.
Yeah,
So
the level design I found to be a little confusing at times.
yeah,
It doesn't help that everything's so hyper detailed and realistic that like it kind of looks all the
yes,
same.
Y-
Like it's kind of
yes,
hard to
you
tell like
don't.
where you can and cannot go, and there's invisible walls everywhere too. So like even though it's like an open space, you try and walk there, there's a freaking invisible wall blocking you.
Yes, indeed. And yeah, and it kind of serves to his detriment. However, it's cool though because it kind of encourages you to explore and because you don't know what path it is. However, at this part, I kind of felt like I did explore every path possible, and I was just confused at that point. I was like, okay, well, I don't know where to go next. So so I think that's it kind of turned me off to it. And again, I put it down and I never picked it back up. But
Okay.
but good game. And it's got cool moves, Sun Wukong.
Monkey.
Monkey. Literally return to monkey.
Return to Monkey the game.
Return to monkey the game. But you know what? Very, very fun game. Highly
Reject modern
recommend.
gaming. Return to
Dude,
Monkey.
yes, dude. You'll never feel it's one of those games where you feel like a total badass playing it. And that's pretty much it for me as far as Black Myth Wukong.
All right, sorry, I had to yawn there for a little bit.
No problemo.
Probably 'cause I haven't eaten anything in a while, so I'm just gonna eat this.
Mm,
But don't worry, we're almost there. We're almost there. Just got a handful more to go.
yeah.
All right, so for our next game, this isn't like a game, right? It's a DLC to a really good game, my game of the year from 2 years ago, and well, that game or DLC would be
In that forsaken place, blood must spill. Blood of your fellows. The Earth Tree faithful.
They were never saints. They just happened to be on the losing side of a war.
Elden Ring: Shadow of the Erd Tree. So it's more Elden Ring. It's an expansion to Elden Ring. So obviously it's going to be great, right? Because Elden Ring's a freaking game of like the decade contender, up there with like Baldur's Gate 3, right? So it's another game of the year contender, and this just expands on what makes Elden Ring so great. Like it's got a big beautiful world for you to navigate around, horrifying monsters for you to fight, tough as nails boss fights for you to encounter. They also give you like tons of cool new weapons, like dual blades that like you can use to like dash around the field really quick. You get like beast claws that you can use.
Yeah.
All sorts of stuff like that. And then you got like new spells, new weapons, and drip that you could use. So yeah, really, really, really fun game. Really big too. Like it is massive. It's like it's like 3 like normal DLCs like put together. It's like on the level of like The Witcher Blood and Wine. I know that was like a really long DLC. Yeah, like it'll take you like a good like 40-50 hours to get through this DLC. Maybe a little less than that, but at least for me, like, yeah, it took me about 40 hours. It didn't help that like some of these bosses are like some of the hardest bosses I've ever fought in any Souls game ever. The final one in particular, right, is probably the hardest boss fight I've ever fought in any game, or the hardest boss I've completed in, right? Because I think I've fought harder bosses and just haven't completed them. Out of the bosses I have completed, like in any game, yeah, this is definitely the hardest. Absolutely just pushed my shit in for like, I think it was like 4 hours. I think it'd be like about 4 or 5 hours before I finally beat him. And then what's funny is, then I went back and fought the other super boss, Millennia, and she was like a chump compared to this guy. I just knew everything at that point. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna fuck you up now. What else is there to say? I mean, beautiful world. Like, I know I talked about it, but it has like kind of like a painter's quality to it. Like there are a lot of areas that like they look like something out of a painting. Like you enter the world like for the first time, the world of the Shadow Tree, and like it has like this hazy look to it, and it's like a wheat field that like expands like for miles and miles, and you just see like the castle off in the distance. You see the Erd Tree, but you see like the shadow version of it, and it just looks great. I mean, Elden Ring is filled with like those kind of beautiful vista shots, but like Shadow of the Erd Tree, some of them are even more beautiful, or most of them actually are even more beautiful than what you'd find in base game Elden Ring.
Yeah, well, I've seen you play Elden Ring, and then I've also seen you play I've seen you play the DLC, and yeah, it's exactly as you say. Oh, I kind of laughed at the part where there's a certain area where your horse Torrent is too scared to be summoned. Is that?
Oh yes. Yeah. That's
was hilarious.
It could have been a cool area. It was kind of underbaked. It was an interesting idea, but it definitely was a little bit underbaked.
Okay.
Although that initial shock, like, whoa, what the fuck? Like, what happening? I thought I got hit by something. That's why I'm like, oh my god, am I gonna die here? And then there's like a little sign on the ground that says, like, yeah, Torrent's too scared to come out. I'm like, oh shit, okay. And then you figure out like why it is that like he's too scared to come out. And then it turns like a stealth section of the game, because if you get spotted by the enemies there, you just straight up fucking die.
Damn. Okay. Interesting.
All right. So speaking of scary ass games.
Oh, yes, indeed. This was my number 2 for 2024, and this game has actually been out for a while. It's been in early access forever, but it still gets pretty good update. It still gets updates consistently, especially this past October. And this game is
She's not attacking me, so
just wait a little bit, bro. Just wait a little bit. There's no activity on the thing right now, so just give it a second. Actually, no, it just spiked. The activity spiked. Yeah, the activity spiked a lot just now. Oh, no, she's in there. She's in there. Get out, get out.
oh, I'm dead. I'm actually dead.
Phasmophobia. The literal, ghost hunters POV. And man, one of the scariest games that I have played. It is absolutely fucking terrifying. But I loved every single moment playing this game. So I'm not one for horror games. Like this is a game I definitely would not play by myself, which is why I played it with Aislinn and my other and her other friends in North Carolina. And dude, it's so good. It's one of those. It's kind of like Lethal Company, where you get the joy out of watching your friends shit their pants, especially, and all watching yourself shit your pants as well, because they they do everything right in terms of making it a horror game. The way that the sound affects you. Remember how this is the brain blast I had earlier. So the whole hearing the void, like you can literally hear the sounds of silence.
Mhm.
It is very alive and very real in this game, and it messes with you because it has the sanity system. So the lower your sanity, the more you hallucinate, and the more chances the ghost will attack you.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So you lose sanity by staying in the dark for too long. That's why it's very important to turn on lights as you go through the house.
Uh-huh.
And if the ghost like throws the breaker, you have to go and like flip the breaker back, or you can't, or you won't be in the, or you'll be in the dark for too long, and your sanity will drop. And experiencing what's called ghost events, where the ghost won't attack you, but it'll flicker the lights or do some weird shit, and you'll hear your heartbeat.
Mhm.
It's yeah, dude,
Mm.
it looks like it's gonna hunt you, but it's not a real hunt. And there's also cursed items as well that can either can help or hinder you in finding the ghost. Like there's a cursed mirror that you can look into, and it shows you where the ghost room is, so you can pinpoint the so that you can pinpoint where the ghost is at. Because well, let me take it back. So you have to find the room where the ghost is haunting, because the house itself is haunted, but there's a room specifically where the ghost is residing, and you have to find it. And there's many different strategies to do so. Once you find that room where the ghost is, then you can start laying down not traps, but tools that can help determine what type of ghost it is. And the hope, of course, the objective is to guess what type of ghost it is before it kills you. And so you have different tools, but there's cursed items like the mirror that can kind of show you it looks like the room in the mirror, but if you use it for too long, not only does your sanity drop, but the mirror breaks, and then you trigger what's called a cursed hunt.
Okay.
So it's a normal hunt, except well, only dire. But no, but
Only
it's like a
cursed.
hunt only cursed, but it's a hunt that lasts like twice as long. So usually hunts last for 2 minutes, cursed hunts last for four. So you have to
Hmm.
spend your time, and also the front door locks, so you can't even escape the
Ah,
house.
damn. Okay.
Yes, dude, it's bad. It's really bad, but it's funny. It's really funny, and also the ghost is extra aggressive during a cursed hunt, but it's it's a lot of fun to go through the motions, and you're like, okay, we have to use this tool, we have to use this tool. Oh no, we got to use the spirit box to talk to the ghost, and if it responds to you, then that also narrows down the ghost. But it's creepy, man. It's really really creepy. I think I talked about it in the other episode,
Mhm.
and it's if the ghost responds to you, depending on you could hear it say words, but sometimes it'll speak clear sentences, and that messes with you a lot. It happened to me where it does voice recognition. So it'll actually do man, I forgot what it's called. I think it's called voice to text or something.
Uh-huh.
But there's different options that you can have. You can have where you actually speak into the mic to speak to the ghost, or you can do text prompts. Usually this is for like console players of the game,
Mhm.
but you ask it questions like where are you, and it actually whispered in through the spirit box, "I'm behind you." And I ran, I ran out of the house very, very fast. Yeah, and the and so that's the experience that I really liked, and I liked it a lot. And and I never got to use proximity chat because they were all too scared to do proximity. I
Cowards.
know, I know, I know, which is why I really, really want to play this game with you and Manny after we do Lethal Company, which we still have not.
You should get your friends to Aislinn and her. I'm sure they'd like it.
No, actually, so I haven't played with them in a while because Aislinn actually got like kind of scared of the game. Like she gets anxious when she when she
Well,
plays it.
Lethal
I'm like,
Company's funny. You should tell her that. It's funny.
yeah, well,
and-
maybe not Lethal Company, but the Phasmophobia.
well, that's
she
why you gotta
gets-
get her to play Lethal Company. Then just tell her it's a funny game.
Yeah,
You just laugh
yeah.
as your friends die. It's like going through a haunted house in
Yeah.
Halloween Horror
Well,
Nights.
yes, exactly. And that's why I think using the proximity chat with you and Manny in this game will be good, because I think you can do up to 4 players.
Mhm.
And we already have 3, which honestly is plenty. Is plenty. Oh, also sanity I think drops faster when you're with a group of people.
Interesting. Okay.
Well, because if you're by yourself, the game kind of like takes it easy on you since
Mhm.
you're by yourself. But since there's more people, you have more help. So it's you deduce the ghost faster
Okay. Okay.
theoretically. So the game it takes that into account and drops your sanity a lot quicker.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I like what I'm hearing. I didn't know about the sanity stuff. That reminds me of
Oh yeah,
Eternal
dude.
Darkness, like that game that had a sanity meter, and it would fuck
Yep.
with you a lot. When if you drop too
Yeah.
low.
Yep. Yeah, and also it does even small stuff like the door just kind of like creaks open and shit, and you're like, but the game's a lot of fun. I did not expect to have this much fun with the game. Oh, and also they have different tier tools. So you have a thermometer that can help you track low temperatures, which is one of the indicators of the ghost room. And they have like the regular mercury thermometer, then they have like the thermometer gun as like upgrade as an upgraded version of the tool. And then you also have the video camera, which like it's like an old piece of shit like 1990s camcorder. And then you have the updated like Sony, or actually phony, they call it the phony camera. And you can use that, and it's a lot better picture and a lot better night vision, so it's easier to see as well.
Okay.
Better, yeah, so it's a good game. Oh look.
Yeah.
Hey,
One of our
there-
friends just got on. I'm gonna see notification. One of our friends playing
Phasmophobia.
Phasmophobia.
Yeah, dude. Send them a text and be like, "Wow, that's that's a real coincidence." No, I don't know. I'm scared. It's a good game. It's a real, real good game. I can't wait to play it with you guys after we do Lethal Company.
Me too. Me too. Me too.
Yeah.
All right.
And then and I think that's no, it's pretty much it.
Okay.
For
All
Phas.
right. So it's good that we're talking about fear, right? Because this is another game that kind of deals with fear and anxiety, although it also has to deal with politics and racism and systemic oppression and all sorts of these other big political themes wrapped in a fantasy setting. And this is my number 2 game of the year, and that would be
Your fool of a king is dead!
Without an heir to wear the crown.
What will become of the royal magic?
The fortress at the border was raised by a human mere days ago. You can only blame your king's weakness. Who deserves his crown? A man of proven strength!
The people of my land desire a new king, and I shall provide.
Welcome one and all to the inauguration of the tournament for the throne!
Small wonder when any among the populace might be king.
Their speeches of tribal harmony mean nothing, when every day they cheat and abuse us!
It tells of a world united as one tribe.
Metaphor Re Fantasio. Woo! So this is Atlus's latest RPG game. It is a new IP that they wanted to make for quite some time. Like, they didn't want to just be the Persona guys and the Shin Megami Tensei guys. Let's venture out and tackle high fantasy now. We went from urban fantasy with the Persona games of Shin Megami Tensei to more traditional high fantasy, like, you know, classic Final Fantasy games or like Dungeons and Dragons. And this is, you know, it's definitely a Atlus game, right? It's like, it's not Persona, it's not Shin Megami Tensei, but it is like a really big combination of both of them. Like, the combat system is like Shin Megami Tensei, but then, you know, you have the archetypes, which are those big, you know, metal dudes that you see in the fight scenes. They're kind of like Personas, even though it works more like a job system now. And, you know, if it wasn't for my number one game, this game for sure would have cleared everything else, because it's a beautiful game, not just like visually beautiful, but also like it has a beautiful story about maintaining hope in the wake of political oppression and not giving in to your fears, and to learn to conquer your fears and anxieties, so that way you can, you know, live a full life. And it does a good job. I mean, I know I've mentioned this before in previous episodes. It does a good job at having a very hopeful tone, but not to the point of being like stupid or naive. Like, it understands that, like, you know, change and a better future, like, is something that takes many, many years. And it understands that, like, you know, a lot of the problems of society, it's not just with people themselves, but just with the systems that have been set up, and that, you know, the systems need to perform in order for, you know, true progress to happen.
Yeah.
And then outside of that, like, the gameplay is a lot of fun, right? You know, you explore dungeons, you know, talk with your buddies, you hang out with them to increase like your bond level with them. And then you have the combat system, which is definitely just, you know, like I said, Shin Megami Tensei, where it's like you get like press turns where your party can act a certain number of turns, and then the enemy team does it. But then, like, if you exploit a weakness, you get an additional turn, or like you only consume half a turn actually. But then the enemy team can also do that to you too. So like, it can lead to these really fucked up situations where, like, on hard mode, you can just die in like one round because like the enemy just uses like a lightning AoE spell, and like one of your guys just happens to be weak to lightning, so they just spam it over and over again until your entire team dies. But you can also do that to them too, so it's kind of fair. Definitely rough in the beginning on hard, but like afterwards, it's overall actually a pretty easy game, all things considered. It's just you just need to get past that first half. Yeah, really, really good game. I mean, what else is there to say? Like, the job system I really like. It leads to a lot of flexibility, a lot of build variety, a lot of team composition. The characters are all great. I like all of them. I like all of them a lot, especially Heismei, who's he's like a bat ninja dude. He's like, who recently like lost his son, so then like he went into hiding because he was being framed for like kidnapping kids, and you have to like investigate like who's really kidnapping the kids and stuff. And it gets fucking dark. Like, this game is very dark at times. I'm surprised it's T for T, because like that particular quest line in particular, where you have to find out like who's kidnapping the kids, it is fucked up. Like, and it leads into like the themes of like racism, and in particular that quest line, prejudice against interracial couples, and interracial prejudice against like mixed children. And yeah, it's not afraid to go to really dark places, but it's always hopeful. And I think that's what's great. Like, it's never like meanders in like, you know, the darker parts of it. It's always tries to be like, hey, like, things are bad, but we can, you know, make things better. Things can always be better.
That's good. It's a good message to send. And I think, Atlus with its Persona games have done a good job of, you know, conveying that message.
Yeah, and they're not subtle with it at all. Subtlety is not their strong suit. But you know what? I mean, I think it's a message that falls on deaf ears or goes over people's heads a lot. So I think, in this case, maybe, subtlety. We don't really need to be so subtle, man. It's okay if they beat you over the head sometimes.
Good shit. Very nice.
All right. So let's go to your game of the year, the big one.
Yes, my game of the year, which you already talked about, but for me, this was my top one for sure. So you'll notice that a lot of the games that I pick have to do with that are mostly co-op or multiplayer, because I really like gaming, but I love gaming with friends. And if you can game with your friends and have a really, really good time doing it, then there's a chance that you will make it to game of the year for me. And for me, well, for my personal game of the year. And for me, that game of the year is
Super Earth. Our home. Our way of life. But freedom doesn't come free.
No! Sweet liberty! No!
Look familiar? Scenes like these are happening all over the galaxy right now. And you could be next. That is, unless you make the most important decision of your life. Prove to yourself that you have the strength and the courage to be free.
Join the Helldivers.
Helldivers 2.
All right, for freedom.
For freedom, for Lady Liberty.
Lady Liberty wins this year.
Lady Liberty stole my heart back in March when this game came out, and she has not let go since. I love this game. It's God, it's just so much fun. I still remember the times. I remember when I first unlocked the guard dog Rover, and dude, so effective at killing out Tyranids, but unfortunately,
Also effective at zapping me in the ass.
Yeah, I was gonna say it always seemed to zap you more than anybody else right in the ass. I don't know why it did that, but hey, listen, we all have to make sacrifices for liberty.
Oh, okay.
But dude, when this game came out, it was a literal firestorm, like you said it was. At my previous job, dude, healthcare professionals, doctors were giving me the Helldiver salute with the fist. So this game had the sauce, and it had it in what seemed
I died. Seeing stuff like that makes the game so funny. He's just bloody bits on the floor.
And then he takes his freaking gun too. Oh my god! I didn't even have the decency to reinforce the player, the teammate. But in any case, this game was really, really good, and it was really, really big firestorm. And not just the gameplay itself, but just the culture surrounding it. Like it really pushed this sense of patriotism for this fictional super Earth like never before. And the memes for this game were just absolutely god tier. Especially my favorite one is, the whole thing of like, no, it's supposed to be satire, this is literally just military propaganda, and it's like, my brother in Christ, it worked. Double the defense budget. Which is that's my favorite meme to come out of this game. But I loved every single second of it. Even with the new stuff that came out with the Illuminate and the Voteless, me and Jesse only played it for a little bit with another friend of ours, Gene, and it was a lot of fun. We got into the car. We got to use the car for the first time. We got to fight the voteless for the first time. Those poor bastards, they don't have the right to vote, which, we can't have that. That's not the vision we have for our society.
No, everyone deserves the right to vote and manage democracy.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself. But yeah, the firestorm that this game had, and the amount and the fun that I had with you and all of our other friends is something that, well, I haven't had this much fun playing the game with you since Baldur's Gate. well,
Yeah, man, I miss playing that game. We never finished
dude.
it.
Well, I mean, we'll do a little side note, but it's official. Like, it's unveiled that the next patch will have crossplay for
Yeah, I know.
consoles. So once that patch comes out, I'm gonna be spamming our group chat to make a 4-man group. So yeah,
We'll play like 2 hours and then we'll never fucking play it again.
but those 2 hours will be the fucking best 2 hours ever. And you know what? It might be so much fun that they might be consistent with it. I doubt it, but
Yeah, I doubt it too.
Hey, listen, man, we've been pretty consistent with Helldivers, so you never know. Well, somewhat consistent. More consistent than other games, but this Helldivers 2 rightly deserves the spot at the top of my list, and I will always love Lady Liberty.
Of course.
Sweet Liberty, my leg!
My leg! Alright. Alright, let's move on to now my game of the year. The final game.
Dude, yes, this is your
final game on our list. Yeah, this is not only my game of the year, but this might be my game of the decade, to be honest, unless the next part of this game does even better, which I'm hopeful for, which I don't doubt it. But this is a massively amazing game that brings me back to the days of like Kingdom Hearts like 1 and 2, that would bring like fucking tears to my eyes over how much I love the characters in the world and the combat. And that game is
Cloud. Bring me the black materia.
The beginning of the end. The celebration of the faithful. A watershed moment for all mankind.
Hey kids, sorry we're late.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Which, if you've been listening to this podcast for any time, it's come as no surprise to you, as I have been fucking glazing this game since February. And Metaphor came close, right? Well, but it just couldn't match this, right? I mean, the combat system is like the best combat system in any RPG game I've ever played, any action-based RPG game that I've ever played. The cast of characters are some of my favorite, if not my favorite, like in any RPG game ever. They're all so endearing and well realized, and they all just feel like friends. Like, that's what makes the story and like the characters so great, is that this game is pretty much like a road trip game, and like it just feels like you're on a road trip with like great friends along the way. And like when it's over, it's like, it's like when I have a road trip with you, it's like, no, I don't want to be over, but I mean the difference is like I can see you whenever, so like it's not as sad as like with this. I can't relive it again. I can only play it for the first time once. On top of that, like, this is a game like just packed with content, like to the fucking brim, and a lot of people like complained about it being like it's overstuffed, but like this is all high quality content, right? Like all the side quests expand on the characters or the worlds in interesting ways. I'm sure like the quests themselves, like what you do in them, sometimes like isn't like the best, right? It probably could have been a little better polished, or maybe it could have been made a little bit more interesting. But the narrative payoff for it and like the expansion, the characterization on it makes it so worth it. It's again, like it's like hanging out with friends, right? Even if the quest is shit, like you're doing it with friends. So, and it also expands like on the story of Final Fantasy in really interesting ways. Like, actually perfect. So like this guy, like the Gi, right? So like a little minor spoiler, but like the Gi are like the origin of like the black materia, right? Which is something that isn't explained in the original game. Like the black materia is just something that kind of exists, but in Rebirth, they actually kind of link the Gi with the black materia. I'm not going to go into too much into it, right? But they are linked in some way. They are tied to the origin of the black materia, and it kind of leads to this interesting new plot point that could possibly be expanded upon in the third game, whenever that comes out, right? And then, I mean, on top of all that, the music as well is like amazing. It's I mean, it won music soundtrack of the year, which I think is fully deserved. Although all of those nominees deserved it, especially Metaphor. I think Metaphor also had a pretty great soundtrack as well. Yeah, like so, like again, you have a hugely ambitious game that's like filled to the brim with like amazing content that doesn't really feel like filler, with this amazing combat system and some of these great characters that you come to really know and love, and will continue to probably to know and love in the third game, right? Whenever that comes out. And also, like, I'm really surprised at like not only like how much like content there is, but like when it drops it, right? Because like every time like they add more like quests, right, they always find a way to like expand like the area of the world that you can explore. It's kind of like hard to explain, but think of like, it's a lot like an old Final Fantasy game, right? You know, like how in old Final Fantasy games, I know you played the older ones, right? It starts off kind of linear, but then like as you play the game, the world expands like more and more. So like you can explore more and more of the area. Well, this game does that pretty much. And that's, you know, part of the reason why it feels so great to play, because it harkens back to those days where like it starts off kind of linear and focused and does a good job of like keeping you on task with the story. But then as the game expands, you can like, you have the freedom to, you know, go to new places and like discover new quests and stuff, or like go back to, you know, previous areas and finish up on any quests that you haven't done before. Or like mini games in this case, right? There is a lot of mini games, and some of them are a lot of fun. Dude, one of the mini games is freaking Yu-Gi-Oh! Like Gwent, and it has a whole storyline to it. It turns into a Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode. And it's crazy. Like, and it actually follows through the entire time. Like, it starts from the beginning. They introduce like, oh, hey, here's a cute little card game. You can play with like all these people. And then as you play with the people, like the quest line unfolds, and there's like a new mystery that you have to like solve. And then by the end of the game, like there's a huge like boss battle that you have to engage in the card game. Like I said, it turns into a Yu-Gi-Oh! Battle. It's like, you watched Yu-Gi-Oh!, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Well, yeah,
do you remember? Do you remember when Yugi went against Pegasus?
No.
Oh, never mind. Okay.
I watched some, but remember, I didn't really watch a lot of anime unless it was Pokemon.
Well, it was like on that level. It was like if the final boss was like fucking Pegasus.
Okay.
Or
I'll just take your analogy and roll with it. It's
fine. I forgot what the other guy was, but there was like a ancient Egyptian guy that they also dueled. He was like evil and like sorcerer powers and shit. But it was like on that level, and that's like the kind of quality you can expect with a lot of the quests, particularly with the writing. I mean, yeah, there are some mini games that do kind of suck, but you know, like I said, the payoff is amazing, because like you get some kind of great character moment or some great story moment that you wouldn't have gotten otherwise, and it makes the side quests feel necessary. It makes it feel like it's part of the story. Kind of like Baldur's Gate made a lot of the side quest stuff feel like part of the story. You actually lose out a lot when you don't engage the side quests.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, that's probably not gonna be the last time I sing praises to this game, because you know, the PC version's coming out, so I probably will get the PC version and play through it all over again, and then glaze all over again.
Yeah, and I can't wait to play it myself so I can see what all the hoopla is about. But the hoopla is well deserved, because, like I said, Final Fantasy Intergrade was really, really good, and it's a shame. It is a regret that it was one of those games that I put down and I couldn't pick back up. But now with like you said, with the XP boost, so that you can speed through it and catch up in time for the PC release, is something I'll have to take advantage of very soon.
Definitely. Yeah, until February. Yeah, 2 months.
February. Yay.
Well, actually, no, it's January. Oh shit, yeah, it's next month.
Oh, then I'm not gonna have any time.
It's the end of next month, I think.
I'm not gonna have any time, but it's okay. It's fine.
It'll still be there.
Honestly, I'd rather just take my time with the game anyway, because I like my RPGs nice and slow, like a wine you sip. Delicious.
And that concludes our top games of the year.
Woohoo! Very, very nice. I think we had some good selections for this year's best.
I think so too.
Yes.
I really think so too. Hey, when I get around to playing Astrobot, it'll probably make 2025 Game of the Year list. Right? That's the beauty of our games. Like any game can be, you know, selected regardless of the year it came out, because all we gotta do is just play it this year.
Absolutely. I agree.
All right. So, want to sign us off?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this episode of Two Bar Connection. We really, really, really appreciate you guys listening to our content. Please be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Also, subscribe to our channels. Subscribe to our channel for any so you can get notifications on future videos. Also, leave a comment down below if there's anything that you want us to talk about, any games that you want us to play, etc., etc. The best way to listen to us or really watch us is through the YouTube with with the video podcast. But we are available audio only on Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, and Spotify. And you can also follow us on our socials, on Twitter X, and wait, I think that's it, right? That's the only
Yeah,
social
follow
we
us at Add2Bar Podcast.
Yes, Add2Bar
And we will be
Podcast.
post episodes on there every once in a while, some memes, share some thoughts on some news stories.
Absolutely. And yeah, thank you very much.
All right, yeah, so thank you once again. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're listening. Peace.
Bye, everybody.